All right, last one here. This one is a crossover. I thought this was quite interesting. We've covered what's happening with the outbreak in China and other parts of the world and how that's affecting the tech segment. And I already talked earlier in this episode about how I like to play hockey. I'm a hockey player. I'm from Canada, so it's not really an option. But I still, I play as an adult. I buy hockey sticks. And this story comes out, coronavirus is affecting the supply of sticks in the NHL. And I thought, wow. So even hockey stick tech. Now, this stick came out recently. Shout out to Bauer, because you can't find this stick. High-tech stick with a hole in the blade in order to increase the flex in the blade itself. It's called the Nexus ADV. There's the pictures. Many views on YouTube. Bauer, get in touch with Will, please, Bauer. I need one of these sticks. You can't find them. Manufacturing delays, problems, limited edition. Anyway, really cool stick. Some NHL players started to use it, including DeBrusk on Boston and other places. But here's the thing, Will. Players in the NHL don't use off-the-shelf sticks. They like to customize, and they like to use tons of sticks. So for those of you that look at the sport and you say, I don't see the technology, the stick is made out of layers of carbon fiber and glue and various composites and lots of tech going on. And what happens for an NHL player is over time, they put a lot of force into that equipment. An NHL player who takes a lot of shots might go through 6 sticks in a game because they feel like they lost pop in one that they flexed a lot, breaking some of those fibers and those adhesions and losing some of the force. Why are you looking at these? What are you looking at? Field hockey sticks? How dare you, Will?
What?
You got to have field hockey sticks on there. Well, no, whatever you got to do. There's probably field hockey players watching. If you don't have ice, it's the next best thing. So anyways, apparently it's a bit of a conspiracy on the inside because no one wants to come out and say it, but there is a rumor that NHL teams are on a really strict hockey stick diet right now because of coronavirus. These guys normally would pop through 6 sticks in a game, and now they're on a regimen of 2 max and 1 for practice. Because every single one of their sticks is custom order coming by the dozen and to their specific player spec. So you pick a player, and he wants a particular stiffness. He wants a particular kick point in the stick, where the stick flexes. He wants a particular custom curve, which might only belong to him, where he likes to tweak a certain thing about it. He might like a particular shaft dimension. It's unbelievable, the level of customization it might
do
go
that
into.
6 times for each player.
For each player. And then that never makes it to the shelf. It only ships to that team, and it comes straight from the factory in you-know-where. Which country?
China.
Bingo! And both the biggest brands, which represent 75% of what players are using, maybe a little more than that. No, 75% of what players are using in the NHL, both are manufactured in China. Only one manufacturer is elsewhere in Mexico, and that's Warrior. So CCM and Bauer both manufacture in China. So a couple of players actually went on the record to talk about it. Here's one. Charlie Coyle, CCM user. I've been kind of looking for some. He means extra sticks. I think they're kind of slowed up a bit for a good reason. This is his quote. So I'm trying to make do, trying to not break too many sticks right now. I don't really know what's going on over there, to be honest. Hopefully it's not too slow. Some players don't put much thought into what they use. Many are finally attuned to the performance of their most important tool, tweaking a stick's properties, the curve of the blade, stiffness of the shaft, switching to a different model entirely. Here we go. Players state their preferences to traveling sales reps who then place those custom orders in bundles of 12, and then that will arrive to your rink within 7 to 10 days. And they go through so many, they don't have to stockpile too many normally because they've always got this flow of 7 to 10 sticks showing up. It's not like a store that has hundreds or thousands in the supply chain at the warehouse.
So what happens after the sticks are used? They keep using them, right?
No, they go into trash. They go into trash, or they can
every game.
They can go on. They go on to secondary websites like Sideline Swap, and you can actually buy a player used stick
Every single game.
every single game.
No.
It's insane. And some of these sticks at retail are $300.
Oh.
I know, it's nuts. Now, granted, not every player goes through 6 sticks in a game.
Yeah.
But a one-piece stick that breaks in 2 is clearly unusable, but pros know when a stick lacks pop. This, by the way, coming via the Boston Globe. Rather than the wood slices of the past, new sticks are glued and pressed layers of composite fibers. The force produced by slap shots and other stresses of the game make those fibers crack, fray, and lose their strength. So they feel like if I'm using this stick 2 periods deep, it's not optimal as it would have been at the beginning of the game. So they crack a fresh one every time. In the men's league that we play in, good Lord, you know, man, if you break a stick in a game, it costs $300, people are upset.
Yes.
Man, I busted my brand new stick. You don't have a steady feed, a steady supply of these things. So it's a weird crossover. Tech, manufacturing in China, and sports, they all kind of come together here. And this could actually have an impact on these guys because they're so deep in their own ways of doing things. Yes, they could use an off-the-shelf stick. They could go to the hockey shop and just get an off-the-shelf stick, which hasn't been affected by the manufacturing thing as much. But they're so tuned into their specifications that it would be, it has the potential to screw them right up, their whole performance. They're just not used to it. And these guys are so specific about their specs, they'll spend years fine-tuning how they like a stick to be.
Now, do you tune up your stick?
No, absolutely not. Actually, it's a good point, though. Bauer did release a customization option for regular users. You just pay a huge premium. So it goes up even more. It goes from about 300 to like 400, and it ships custom straight from China, and you can actually tweak certain aspects. That's another thing I'd actually like to try, but often I'm too impatient to do it because it's going to be a couple of weeks or a month to get something like that done as a regular citizen. NHL players get to fast track and so forth.
So
but anyway.
What are they going to do? Are they just going to play with 2 sticks? And
so they're going to, it sounds like right now, first of all, it's a rumor, but these players seem to know about it. So I think the NHL probably advised them, don't talk about that. It's rude. It's just a tough topic, right? Yeah. For a sport. I think they're going to conserve sticks for the time being. Certainly in practice, they're only going to use 1 max. And then hopefully the situation gets sorted out a little bit in Asia and they can start to get some supply back. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck probably using retail sticks.
Oh, wow.
They might have to throw a few retail sticks into their mix.
The game has completely changed.
Yeah. And because of the sponsorship deals, they can't necessarily switch brands because they're committed to one particular brand. Now, granted, could a company like CCM bring any of that manufacturing in-house just for a small number of important players? Maybe. Or bring it elsewhere to Mexico or something. I'm not really sure. But in the meantime, there is the company Warrior that is making their sticks in Mexico, so they should be unaffected anyway. I thought it was interesting. Like I said on the previous episode, Will, when you have an outbreak like this, it's easy to have the tunnel vision and just say, oh, here's the impact and here's the effect, but it's far-reaching. You can't even perceive the number of bizarre areas in which this dude might not score as many goals now because he doesn't have his stick to his spec. Then he doesn't sign the extension. Then his wife hates him, so he gets divorced. I'm not suggesting that happens, but I'm just saying the effect, the domino effect that takes place because of this kind of stuff, and not saying that any one aspect is bigger or more important than the other, but it's just far-reaching. The globe, the world, the human beings that are on it, we are so interconnected in 2020 that someone sneezes halfway across the world, and you have no idea how and where that's going to affect you personally. And NHL players wouldn't even been on their radar. And now their most important piece of equipment, arguably, is potentially affected.